Make sure it's recording. Yep. Okay.
How come Francesca refuses to be on camera? Come on, Francesca.
Come on, girl. Don't be scared. I'm on camera.
We know we're all doing sweats and t-shirts. That's all.
Let me turn up my light a little bit. All right. So about how many people are we going to have on today?
I think this is it.
This is it. Okay, cool.
Chris, is there anybody else we're expecting? Oh, wait. Yeah, there's Chris. You're on mute, Christopher.
Sorry.
Here he is.
Let's see. I think this is about it. Yeah, I think we're missing. Yeah, I think we're good. Aaron, yeah. I'll text him.
Pop on too.
Yeah, let's get cranking, Brittany. Go for it.
All right, cool. So I'm excited. Thank you guys for being on. I'm not sure, Chris, if you just want to let me know how much you've talked to the team about this, like I got your text message about what the things that we're going to cover. But just kind of, can you fill me in on what you've let them know, like what the plan is?
I'll do that. And Chris just walked away. I'll do that.
Okay.
We mostly, Brittany, have done I literally did a 5 or 7 minute overview.
Okay.
The online app. So very little, but just wanted to give everybody a picture of what it could do. So now we need to get into the nitty gritty, how it works, what we need to enter, how to enter it, all that kind of stuff.
Hey, Jared, do you have that initial one recorded somewhere?
I record everything. If it was on Zoom, it was recorded somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll find it.
It'll be in there in your files. All right. Okay, that's good to know. Now, do you guys already have accounts set up? I know Chris and Jared do, but the rest of you guys and girls, do you have your accounts? Okay, I see it comes up.
Brittany does, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been getting on our team too to make sure everybody on the team gets it set up.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so then I'm going to skip this page. I was going to show you what the sign up process is, but since you are already there, let's just skip that and go to something.
Let's maybe show that so we could just real quick run through it so they can show their teams.
Sure. So this is what you'll see. So you'll know you're on the right page, BSCpro.com. And then you'll see the sign up for free button, big orange button. Click on that. And this is all they need to do is fill in the fields here. Now, if they click this need assistance button, it walks you through. If they're like, what about my code number? I don't know what the code number is. It steps you through what each of these things mean. So all they have to do is down here. So all they really need to be concerned with is entering their nearest upline. So whoever that is, that's why it's important to have the leaders on first. If the leader's not on first, they can just type not here. But if the leader's already on, they search their name and they come right up. So
one thing that we might need to fix, but I don't know if you could help us out. Mike, I think, picked the wrong account, so he's not showing in my base shop. He's showing in.
Mike was trying to be a baller.
Yeah.
Signing up for the SMD account.
I don't know if I can.
Hey, my policy this week doesn't get me there.
Not quite. Okay, so afterwards, Mike, that I'll stay on with you for a little bit and we'll just get that fixed real quick.
And that's one thing, just really quick, for the training. When you're signing up for this, start with the free account. Do not upgrade into the, any of the hierarchy ones. Once you level up and you're an actual SMD, then you want to get those accounts. There's no need to pay for it. It's not necessary. It'll actually mess things up. So for the training, just get the free account at first.
Yes, and you'll see why as I explain how it actually works and how everything works together, why that's important to do that. Okay, so let me go to a different screen here since.
And then level is always going to be TA as you start out. So just do level TA.
Yeah.
We can always upgrade. Once you move up, we can do that.
Exactly. Go back to my normal.
Brittany will probably just interrupt every once in a while just for, to communicate what needs to be communicated for the training purposes. Okay.
That is fine with me.
Thanks.
Okay. Hang on, I'm getting this back onto the other browser here. Can you see the dashboard? There we go. Share.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So my dashboard here, just to pre-frame this a little bit, this is basically what the CEO would see. So it's all the bells and whistles. This is also my test account. So I'll explain if you see extra things like down here, this is stuff that in admin stuff, you're not going to see that on your account. So don't be like, hey, where did that button go? That's because this is my test account. All right. So I'm going to start with, did you get the matchups added? Okay. Then I'm going to start from, I'm still going to go into matchups first because that's, I think, one of the biggest, actually, no, we'll start with recruits. So when you guys have new recruits, there's still people hopping on. Okay. When you guys get a new recruit, you coded them on, so we have the app, which you've already seen, but also if you're on the desktop, this is where you go to add recruits. This is the 8-speed filters page. And we're going to probably going to make a couple of tweaks. Oh, I think you might have had some in here maybe, but we're going to make a couple of tweaks for your guys's team. I'll be working with Chris and Jared and Brittany to get a couple of customizations in there for you guys. That way I like the lingo to match what you guys are actually hearing at your BPMs and hearing from your leadership. It won't be major changes. It'll just be little tweaks so that everything matches up with what you're actually learning and what you're teaching your new people. So when you get a new recruit, real simple, you fill out the fields. Now, if you have someone that you've recruited, but you haven't actually you haven't submitted their AMA yet, like they're not actually going to finish the process until the end of the week, I wouldn't count that as a recruit. Someone that actually has a code number needs to be put in here because I'm not going to really do much with them until they've actually been coded. So once that happens, you put them in there. Real simple. Production. I'm going to skip to production. All of you guys, do you guys all write business on your own right now?
Almost. Most of us do, yeah.
Yeah, most of us on this call are writing the business, and most of the people on this call are, just so you know, the pretext, are matchup trainers as well.
Oh, yay. All right, I got my field trainers on.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
What we're calling, I don't know if you can customize this for us, but we're now calling them mentors. We're getting away from field trainers. They're now mentors. I don't know if you can customize that, but that would be awesome.
I'll find out, but I like that. Writing it down. All right. For my mentors here, production. So when you are out in the field or after you've actually submitted and closed business, this is what you can use. You can do it on the app, and you can also do it from the desktop version, is submit the business. Now this is a good spot to actually teach your trainees. It's a really good teachable moment of what you actually enter and how the process works. So they're kind of seeing that there's a process to it, there's a method to the madness, and that it's organized in some way, shape, or form through BSCpro. So you would literally we're doing a lot of Zoom appointments now, but let's say you're on a Zoom call. After the call, you can stay on with your trainee or do a FaceTime with them or whatever, and actually show them how you're submitting the business, or get on desktop, whatever, but show it to them. So you put in the date, client name. You can search your own database if you have prospects in here already, and select them. You can put in 2 agents. So if there's a split agent, let's say your trainee is licensed, they would be considered your split agent if they're the one that generated the sale. So you would put in yourself, and you can put them in as well. If they're not licensed, we're going to just consider them a trainee. So we click yes, and then the trainee field pops down to put their name in. We want them to get credit for their business so they can get their gold badge. Do you guys do that in your office? The first 10,000 points or whatever that they generate as unlicensed?
Yeah, we started to. We're going to come up with some other stuff, but this is really cool. And one of the most important things I like about this, guys, is that dudes like Jared who are like, man, where are my points at? Or like, or like Davin, for instance, like we're writing business for a lot of her people. Like she should know how many points she's got on the board so we can promote her, right? This is one of the number one reasons I want to get people on. Francesca, who's recruited 20 people. We should be able to hop in here and be like, dude, you already have 40,000 points. When you get your license, you're going to be at the top spot. Like this is super important, and why we all need to use this for the promotion and just giving them recognition. It's super important. So this is one of the features I really love.
Awesome. Okay. And then down here, as the field trainer, and I was talking to Brittany and she said, you guys pretty much do the same thing. I put the name of the provider, and you can abbreviate as long as you're all doing the same thing. I tell every base shop this, as long as you guys are all singing the same song, you're fine. It doesn't have to be like everyone else's team. As long as you guys as the base shop are singing the same song, entering things in the same way, using the same lingo, you're going to be okay. You can go a lot faster that way. So put in the name of the product, provider / name of the product. And it's an open field here. I'll just type in gibberish so you can see. And then policy number, when you get that, put it in right away. If you don't have it yet, the next day, usually they come in within a couple hours now. They're pretty fast, but I would want to see that policy number in there as soon as humanly possible. Now, points, total points of the policy. When you're entering, when you have your target, you run the illustration, you get your target, and then you're like, okay, I wrote Pacific Life, PIP LT, whatever that is. You take that percentage that the company pays out, it's called the commission file. Once you've done that multiplier and you have the total points of your app, that's the number that goes in here. That's what we mean by total points. Does that make sense? You can nod head or give me a thumbs up. Mike, you good? You with us? All right. I can only see a couple of faces here, so. All right, so, and what is awesome about this too is if you split business with someone, the software will automatically alert the other trainer, the other mentor that you split business with them, and it'll put their half of the points. It'll basically make a copy of the entry, send it to that other person's tracker automatically, which is cool.
Okay.
You can still tell them because it's exciting, but it'll just do that work for them. They don't have to go in separately and enter it, and it works vice versa for everybody. So you'll be able to see it as you go in. Now, in the notes, what I would expect someone to do is to put in when the medical exams were scheduled. And that's still happening. Even in this day and age, there's still, the medical companies are still up and running. Some are a little slower than others, but still they should still be doing their meds, the client, within like a day or two, if possible. If they ate a greasy cheeseburger the night before, maybe not the next day, but they should be going really fast. And I want to see the date that the meds were scheduled in the notes. That's what I would want to see. Pending submission. That is so it's just a little on-off toggle switch here. If you turn this on, that just means that you submitted something like an annuity or a trial app, something that doesn't advance right away. So that's what that would be used for, because we still need to track it, but we're not going to get points for it. So I want to see it on my tracker, but I can't count those points yet because money has not exchanged hands. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then referrals, it's basic. We're going to work on some more details for this later, but just put in if you got any referrals for the second appointment, which everyone usually does, just the number of referrals that you got. And then click add to tracker, and it adds to the tracker.
Now, really quick before you leave this, Brittany, I do want to go back really quick.
Yes.
Just a couple quick questions. So what are the difference? So total points is the total points of the policy. My points will split those in half if it's split, right? And then what could be the difference with base shop points? Why would that be different?
Because
it's going to show you the points so if you split business with someone that's outside the base shop, the points are going to be different.
That's good. So Chris's base shop points will count. So if I write a policy for whatever, Andre, that would be our base shop. Okay.
Right.
That's
but if
cool.
Andre or Brittany writes a point, we only get half the points.
Half of that. Yep.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Cool. Then it really allows us to track accurate base shop points.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly. Chris writes business and splits it with Jared. Chris needs to see Chris is going to get credit for all the points as it pertains to the base shop. He's going to get the total points of the app, but it's still, even though it's a split within his team.
Right. So there can also be a split. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. What was that last part?
I forgot what I said. It's it's still going to be even though it's a split. Just because it's a split, you still need to get all the points if it's within the base shop. You still need to count all the points.
Yeah, and the thing is, so if I write a policy for you, Jared, and I split with you, I can track my personal too from base shop and personal.
That's killer. And then if in that example, Chris splits a policy with me, but is training Devin, all three of us can be on and we can track points for Devin. Is that right, Brittany?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Game changer.
And where exactly do you see the blind points, or what field?
So if there's Bethany, if there's a trainee, so if you scroll up, Brittany, a little bit, so there'd be the writing agent. Let's just call that me, and I split Jared.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a trainee, if that's Devin's recruit, you can press yes, and then add the trainee too, so it'll track the trainee that gets the blind points too.
Nice.
Or if I write a policy and Jared, or let's say Devin's not licensed and I get 100% of the points, then I could just put her as a trainee, not as a split agent because she's not licensed, and then she'll get 50% of those points
Nice.
for her account.
Perfect.
Are we doing trans alpha's not going in here, right?
No, we don't get paid on that.
Yeah, I know that, but I just want to make sure that it's clear.
Yep.
So those my points, shop points auto populate, right?
I didn't hear that question. Was that Aaron talking?
Yeah, that's me. So the my points and base shop points, those auto populate.
Yes, those will auto populate. I can show you guys if you want to see.
I think this is important to go over with the mentors for sure, because they're going to be using this a lot.
Yeah, maybe just like a hypothetical example.
I don't know if you guys can see that. It's grayed out, but
Yeah.
so as you write
I
it
see
in, it'll show your points. It'll show the points that go to the base shop because I split business with someone that's not in my base.
Nice.
Cool. Perfect.
All right. Any other questions on just entering?
Yeah, I have a question. What if the split's not 50-50? What if it's a different percentage ratio on the split?
You can only split 50-50.
Okay, so we only do 50-50.
Yeah, we only.
Yeah. 50-50
Okay.
splits.
Yeah, I've just heard Nicole reference some transactions where it's not at 50-50, but that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, it gets a little too funky and complicated when that happens. So yeah, I wouldn't suggest doing that, but I know that there's outliers and different things that happen, but I would keep it 50-50. Okay. Okay, production tracker. So this is what you'll see. I don't have, let me go back here. February. All right, so when you submit business, everything's gonna show up here. For Chris, everything's gonna roll up. Now you're only gonna see business that you're responsible for as the mentor or the split mentor or the trainee. Otherwise, you're not gonna see record of it. So you can see everything that's below you, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. When they show up, everything's gonna show as pinned. Check this here. Sorry guys, I didn't have time to reset everything before. Go ahead and ask your question. Go ahead.
You're good. So question is like for Chris Poliska, would he be able to see everyone in his organization's inputs?
Yes. He's gonna see, yes.
And then
the whole base shop.
And then Jared will be able to see everybody in his downline, and then Aaron will be able to see everybody in their downline, but my account will see everybody. So this is really going to help us.
Yeah.
Us big time.
And so for those of you guys, so here's one of the distinctions between the free and the paid. So what we allow everyone to do for free and what we wanted everyone to be able to do for free was submit business, submit recruits, submit any activity that involves the base shop that you guys are doing. We wanted you to be able to submit it via the app, or you can do it from the desktop submitting business or activity. But this feature, being able to actually, when you want to start tracking production and pushing things through, this is where having your own paid subscription comes into play, because this does a lot. And we're assuming like if you're writing business, like you're able to afford to start running your own business as a business owner. And so this is where this kicks in. All right, so when it's brand new, fresh, comes in as pending, all the details are here. They'll be listed under here. So you guys will see when you write business. And if you have some today that you've written, go ahead and put it in. And what I tell everyone is, because it's true, you cannot mess it up. If you mess something up, you can delete it, you can edit it, you can fix it. So don't be afraid to just get in there and start submitting stuff. Even if it's simple and you don't have all the answers, just submit as much as you can. You can ask us questions. You can always go to another mentor and someone will help you fill in the gaps of things that you may not know. But this is how you learn, just by doing it. All right. So when something advances, when we actually, so I always have to make this distinction because it's important. So let's say you wrote an app with trans and you see on the Transact website, there's a little field on there when you're looking at outstanding requirements that says commissions advanced. So when you see that, that does not mean money has been sent over. That does not mean you have money in your pocket yet. What we're talking about for first advance, that means when it hits the commission statement. So on my WFG, when you see that business, the first advance, that first 40% come in, whatever that date is, that's the date that we're talking about. And that's when you check it off. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you'll see, so as I checked off the box, your first 40% is automatically calculated. So you don't have to do any of that. Your total points of your app still shows up right here. It'll tell you how much was written, meaning your base points that go to the base, and then your first 40% of your commission. Now, between the first and second advance, we have to do all of the getting the policy issued, all the outstanding requirements. So as that's happening, on the notes section over here on the right, I just clicked on this little note icon with the arrow. That pulls your notes down. I'll click it again so you guys can see. That pulls the notes down. So this is huge. So when there's 3 of you involved in an app, I'll just say 2. There's a writing mentor and a split agent mentor. This is where you guys can communicate with each other about the policies. So whoever does something to push the policy along, you need to make record of it here. And you can do it on any device. It's a little difficult to do on the phone, I'll be honest, but you can if you're in a pinch and that's all that you have, you can. And we're working on making that easier to do. But what you want to do is leave yourself breadcrumbs. That's the best way I can describe it. So that way, let's say a bunch of business was written the night before, you go in and enter all the business that was written, and you put in sent an email to home office about such and such. Put that in the notes, so that way the next day when Chris is up, Jared's up, and they want to go and see what's going on, like what happened the night before with everything, they can just look at your guys' notes and see what's happening. And if you have questions, you can ask those questions here, and you guys can respond to each other through the notes. But this is a great, and also this is huge. If a client sends you an email or anything, you can store that stuff here. You can use the little paperclip icon up here in the action column on the far right and attach those things. You want to keep record of every type of correspondence that happens with a client. I wouldn't do it through text. I would do it through your email and do it through the proper channels, but you always want to keep record of everything, because if something happens and they call up WFG and they're like, my agent said I should get this policy, but that's not really what I wanted. You can be like, this is the correspondence that we had. You get what I'm saying? You just want to keep record. You always want to cover your butt, and this is the best way to do it.
Question, does it give an alert when a note is made on a file? Like, does it alert the writing and the split agent?
Not yet. We're like this close to having those roll out, and also app mentioning. So you'll be able to tag someone directly in a note, and they'll be able to see. And she said, is there an alert? Is there an alert for, I'm talking to my husband, guys. He's just right off screen at his desk. She said, is there an alert for when someone adds a new note?
No. There is an alert though for the split agent or for the writing agent. One of the other enters it.
Yeah. So no, not yet. But when it is, I will let you know.
Cool. Thank you.
We're close. Yeah, of course. Okay. So delivery steps. When the policy gets issued, you check the box. We kept it real simple. When the arrived, that means the policy actually showed up at the office or the branch. Is your guys' office a branch also, or do your policies go to a different office?
They go to a different office. There's I don't know if we got it fixed, but they're supposed to go to Cash's office. Carlo, did that happen, or are they still going to Chino?
I keep checking on our profile to see if the address changed, and it hasn't changed yet. So,
Okay.
I don't know when it's going to be in full effect.
We could talk about this offline, but Brittany,
Yeah.
did we submit everything for that, or do you know? Just so I can make a note.
We had submitted the papers for each individual person, but I haven't seen anything go through yet either.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. So when the policies arrive where they're supposed to be, whoever receives it, I'll say it's Brittany, she's going to click policy arrived. So if you're an agent, and you can be, and also, by the way, you don't have to wait for things to be checked off. Like, I am a crazy freak about follow-up. So still to this day. And so I would be finding out however I could to see the status of my policy. Like, I don't wait for check boxes to be checked by anyone else before you always need to be ahead of the ball, is that's your job. And because also when you write business, it's instantly on the clock. So there's a window of time that you need to have all the outstanding requirements done before that policy drops and you get a chargeback, and we don't want that. Agent field right here. That means I gave the policy to the agent. So it's out of my hands. I gave it away. That means you need to go deliver it. PDR, that stands for policy delivery receipt. So I would check that box when I know home office has received the PDR. And then the last thing after that is the second advance. So you check the box and then you get all the points. Yay. So your first, your second, and that's how that's done. That's how that process happens.
Question.
In a nutshell. Yes.
The agent, I want to say that's a new box, but I could be wrong. Do we need to actually check? Because like if we're the one getting the mail and we have to hand it to ourselves in a sense, do we have to check that off and have it a date before this will move forward? Or is that, I guess I'm asking, is it mandatory that every single one of those 4 boxes is checked while we're tracking this? Or is it just going to be something that we can click on and say, yes, the second commission went through, everything's good, policy delivery receipt has been received, this policy is complete?
So you're talking about this. I don't
Yes.
have agent field check, but I can, so yes, you can. Is that what you meant?
Okay, yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. It used to be mandatory and we had to shut it off for a little bit until people got used to it. We might make that mandatory again just because it's just really important. I've seen it help a lot of people and save a lot of butts, if that makes sense. Because once that's out of your hands, you really need to know, like, it's hard to remember. Like, I can barely remember what I did yesterday or 3 days ago, let alone I'm trying to track 50 policies, and I cannot, there's no way I can remember when I gave it to even myself. So.
Yeah, right. No, I understand. I'm one of the ones that gets the mail for everybody. So if I got the mail, then I've put it in their slot, right? It's been handed off to them. Then I need to put that date in. I was just curious if it was mandatory but you explained it. Thank you.
Good. All right. Any questions so far? I know it's a lot and I talk super fast, but anything? All right. You guys are making this easy on me. All right.
I love this. This is amazing.
Oh,
great, right?
So one thing that I will note on here, if you can double click on pretty much any place on the line, and it'll pull up the edit page. And so down here is what I want to show you. Entering the drop date. As soon as that policy is written, put in the date that the policy set to drop. So it's usually a 60-day or 90-day window that you have, but whatever it is, put in that date as soon as you have it. We have some features coming that go along with that. So like a timer basically to let you know like which things should be done by a certain date. So it's really important that you put that in there. And also you'll be able to sort by things that are dropping first, like your most urgent things that you need to get, that you need to have issued before you get a chargeback. So it's important to put that in there. This is where you can enter chargebacks and adjustments, or if policies are incomplete, click on the little button and you just enter in the date that you actually see it on the commission statement. So this is really important. If you know a policy is going to charge back, don't put in the date that the client called you and said, you know, I think we need to make an adjustment. I can't afford this. I need to lower it a little bit. Don't put it in that day. Put it in when the adjustment actually hits the commission statement. That's the date that we need to track it. Because if I ever need to go back, or if Brittany needs to go back and pull something up and you put in the wrong date, then I have to check 8 different cycles in order for me to see this. It's just a huge time saver. Promise. All right. Pretty simple there. Okay. Now here on the filters, this is a little bit nitty gritty, so I'll try to not get too nitty gritty with it right now. But this up here, the little filters up here, this number in the small bubble tells you the total number of policies for whichever category you're looking at. So for example, I have 256 policies that are pending a first or a second advance, and that totals up to 429,417 points. So this is really good for day to day, but it's also really good where this comes into play is when you're on a run and it's like a 3-month window or a 60-day window that you have to let you know how many apps are still outstanding and how many points we have, how many points we still need that we have in the, that have not advanced yet. So we know we need to like get our butts in gear. Does that make sense? It's pretty cool. Once you really start getting into it, it's pretty cool. All right. And then these are pretty self-explanatory. When you want to see points that have actually hit, like points that have actually paid out, there's a filter for that. So you can click it. You can, or first you have to set your date range up here, and then you can filter by whatever you want to see. Okay, and then there's a top producer button up here, which I love. If you just click on the little blue box, it ranks everybody by number of points, number of apps that have been written. This is actual means business has actually hit commissions, and then this is business that's been submitted. I love that. Okay, any questions?
Oh, that's cool. So you can actually see, like in my world, like in the loan world, like business that's already like funded, let's just say, and then policy submitted if you click the written button. So you could say like somebody had apps this week, so to speak, and then somebody had the most commissions paid. Is that kind of that cool? That's really cool.
All right. Did you get those matchups in yet? Yeah. Yay. Okay. I'm going to go to matchups next.
Try to assign the last one on your list.
Assign the last one on my list. Okay. I'm going to start up here with requesting. So there's 2 options on here. Requesting a matchup, meaning you need a mentor to come with you or to be on the Zoom call with you, or adding a personal appointment. That just means you're doing it yourself. You don't need to alert Chris that you have this appointment going on. He's going to see it in his calendar anyway, or Jared's going to see it anyway in the team calendar view, but they're not going to get a push notification about it. So request matchup is what you're going to use again when you need someone to do the appointment with you. Again, we tried to keep it pretty simple. The date of the appointment, you can put in a real address, and it's synced up to Google Maps, so you can put in the actual specific address, or you can enter a URL if it's a Zoom. Most of you guys are doing that right now, so you have that option. If, oh, you know what, I'm going to mention this right here. I'm just going to do gibberish. If you've never entered somebody's name, if you don't have them in your prospect list anywhere yet, you're just going to click to add if that's the first time you've added them. And then if you do that, it's also going to add it to your prospect tracker. So you can go back later and make any notes that you need to make.
What if they're a recruit? Will it automatically put them in recruits, or is there a button to show that? Or
if they're a recruit already, they'll.
What if it's like an? Okay.
If you put them on the filters, they'll pop up in here.
Got it. And then I know Jared talked to you about that. So we enter them in. So you enter all your new people under recruits right away, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But eventually anybody that signs up is, I think Jared talked to you about that. Anybody who signs up that would be in my organization is, can we auto populate that recruit? Because anybody who would sign up with the app would be a recruit too.
Yeah, we're not doing it yet. We've thought there's pros and cons to it. It doesn't do that yet.
Okay.
But that's something we can talk about later off the call. All right. So email. So here, the 8 pointers are here. If you just hover over, just click on them. And this is really awesome information that your mentor needs to know before you go into the appointment. And then appointment type down here. So I want to, I guess, well, do I have time to just run through these, what each of these means? Should we do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if this is the first time you're going to be sitting, if you're going to be sitting with a family, let's pretend you're at the kitchen table, sitting with a family for the first time, that's a kitchen table presentation number 1. When you're taking that F&A, that's what that is. The second time you go, you're usually closing business, you're presenting the F&A to them and implementing their plan, their financial strategy. So that's the second appointment. Delivery, that's another appointment, but it's all field training. If you're using the request matchup appointment types here, that's assuming that you are there's a trainee involved. There's on-the-job training. So it doesn't necessarily matter. You're going to hear a lot of different lingo over the years. As long as you guys are here, you're going to hear different lingo. But just know if there's a trainee involved, this is considered on-the-job field training. So there's really only so many options that you have, and these are them. recruiting interview. That's you're doing an AMA or a one-on-one. Usually that's at the office and you're introducing the company to them and you're going to tailor the presentation whichever way it goes. Could be a client, could be a recruit, could be both. That's a one-on-one. BMP is like if you have somebody, let's say there's a dentist and you go do a BPM over at that dentist's house and he has all of his other dentist friends come over and you do a BPM there instead of at the office. That's called bring the meeting to the people. It's a really old school term, but a lot of people still use it, so that's why it's there. Okay, and then at the bottom, still hard to see here. There's a fast start appointment and then there's other at the bottom.
Is there any way, just while I have you on the line, is there any way we can add a field that just says recruit ATP or recruit F&A so that we know, because one problem that we're having right now is I don't know if it's a reference call field training or if I don't know if it's the actual, if they're on the team, if that makes sense, or how can we decipher whether it's a client field training or it's a internal consumption recruit F&A or field training?
I see what you're saying.
So, like for instance, they're emailing me on my calendar. They're having people schedule on my Calendly, and I don't know. So, like I had 2 yesterday. I didn't know if this person was actually in our organization. So I was doing the recruit F&A, which would be a training. I would teach it a different way, whether I was just having a client presentation. So, is there a way that we can maybe add that so I know, hey, this is actual client field training. I'm gonna do something a little different than if this was a recruit F&A, because one of the obviously the filters is doing their F&A as a recruit. Is there a way to, how do you think is the best way to manage that within your system?
There is a way. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it after and we'll figure out the best solution for you. Right now, so here's what I'd say for right now, put it in the notes. Tell them to put it in the notes. Like this person's already recruited. Like you guys got to
perfect. Right here in the notes. This person's on the team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And that's how, that's the best way that's what I would do for now until we make those customizations. And then hang on, in the chat here. I don't see it popping up. Okay, go to the matchup book. Somebody just asked a question on chat. Give me a second here. And I'll answer your question. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys something new. Hopefully this is up. You said it was up?
Yeah.
Okay, this is cool. All right, so this is the matchup calendar / matchup book is what I call it, because it literally used to be an enormous book on paper, and I would have all the field trainers listed in there, and I'd have my little to-do list or all the matchups on one sheet, and then I'd have my enormous book where I had to sort all the appointments under the appropriate field trainer. So it was a lot of work. So so it's kind of, there's different views depending on how you're involved in the appointment. So the trainee, let's say the trainee submits. Do you guys call them trainees or do they have a different name too?
We're going to call them mentees.
Mentors and love it. Okay. So the mentee, let me write that down. I'm getting there. Okay. So the mentees, they submit one of them submits an appointment and it'll pop up for Chris as new, or it'll pop up and it should pop up for Jared as a new appointment. Chris is going to see this assign trainers button. And he can click assign. And then here, he'll see all the appointment details, when it was submitted up at the top, who the appointment's for. And then he can select a field trainer. So this is brand new. So Chris will be able to see, and Jared will be able to see who's available, who's already booked, and who is, I don't see a busy one in here.
The second one. You do
the second one?
Busy. Not the first one on the list, the second one on the list.
Wait.
Things to do with assign trainers.
Yeah, I'm getting to it. I don't see one. Whatever. They'll get the idea. They got it. Yeah, they're smart. They got it. So he'll be able to see who's busy or who's available, who's booked, and there's some buffer time in there. We're kind of still playing around with it. We launched it last night just to a couple base shops, but it just makes it so much easier, especially when you guys are running the amount of appointments that you're running. This is going to be a huge time saver for you guys. So when Chris or Jared selects field trainers, you guys will all get, whoever they select will get blasted a push notification, and you'll also receive an email. Depends on what settings you have set up, but you'll get a push notification via the app straight to your phone, and you'll be able to select. You'll see a yes or no pop. You'll see the appointment details, and you'll get a yes or no. You're not going to get all the details of the appointment. You're just going to get the time and the location, and the trainee and the client name, I believe. And then you can select yes or select no. Those are the options that you get.
Brittany, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Jared, can you go back into that new one of those so we can look at it? This is one of the things that would help a lot, I think, if it's possible. So I made a custom field in the recruits called mentor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to tie our custom field to this so they can see who that mentor is and go to them first? So for instance, if Christopher's my mentor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've got 10 field trainings, it needs to go to Chris first if he's available because he's my mentor. That way Bethany could see who is.
But if they're not available, then it
accountable.
can be assigned out to another.
Yeah,
right?
then it's whoever's next in line.
So we're trying to really take our people to our mentors take it for helping these people build their business all the way through. So ultimately, when a recruit comes in, when they like, let's just make it easy. If Francesca, who's not licensed, she's a trainee, brings somebody in, she's going to match me up as the mentor. My job is to bring that person all the way through their 10 field trainings, but I might not have availability, right? So there still needs to be for me to be able to assign that to somebody else, another mentor to have my back, but the appointment should go to me first as the mentor. Or I can always just assign that mentor, right? If it comes through, I just know that's their mentor.
Yeah, if you already know who it is, you can ask them first.
Yeah.
It's not impossible to do. I'm going to think about how we can link that up. It might be something we'd have to do through the prospect tracker, because you can assign, there's a column where you can enter someone that the trainee has been assigned to. So that might be how we can link that up. You can set it up in there, and then we can make it viewable on different pages. That's the first thing that is coming to my mind. But what you could also have your trainees do in the meantime, I'm all about a workaround until we've actually made this manifest in real life, is put it in the notes, whoever their mentor is. And if you don't already know, I'm assuming you know everyone's off the top of your head, because it's a lot. I know you're trying to keep in your brain. Have them put in their notes who their mentor is. Or we can I'll see, we might be able to add that as a note for you guys to have them put in who their mentor is.
So this is Aaron. Right now, are they all going to Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now everybody's going to me, and I'm assigning them all out to you. Truthfully, I want to make sure no appointments get missed. So it's a catch-22, right? So it's like I want it to go to their mentor first, because that's who I'm assigning it out into anyways, or that's what we're going to be doing. But I also want, if that mentor's booked, to have the ability to make sure we don't skip that appointment, right? So I don't know what the workaround is other than what you're saying right now. Put it in the notes so that it's assigned by the base shop coordinator, or aka me right now, to that person, and I'll just know who the mentor is, and I'll ask them first. But I want to also make sure that it's mixed, if that makes sense. So,
Brittany, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I know when they're putting in the matchup request, right? They're putting name, date, time, address. Is it possible for you to put in a field there where they have to put in who their mentor is? And that way, when the matchup request comes up, because I know Chris is going to get all the notifications. I remember running this for Jenna Herrera. She would get the notifications. I was logged in as for her, and it would pop over to me, and then I would match them, yes, to Chris's point, to the person who is supposed to be assigned to them as their mentor. But we've got so many people for Chris and Jared and just the entire Irvine hierarchy that it's going to be almost impossible to always remember who their mentor is. Is that a location that we could add their information to? Like some of the 8 filters, next line, mentor.
Yes. That's what I was thinking.
let's have them put their notes so we can start using the system until that's live, right?
Yeah. You'll really know when you guys start to dig into this, you're going to know immediately where you're going to want that to show up. Like immediately. Yeah. I need it right here, because this is where the rub is.
Yeah.
you guys let me know. And I want to know from all perspectives also. So not just from Chris's or Jared's perspective, but like for the new person, what that experience is like for them. Is it easy? Is it too much to remember? Like I want to know because we have to keep it simple for them. I don't want to give them so many fields that it's just like a nightmare to enter the stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that. My wheels are turning. We also have a Google Calendar sync. So the first time you log in, you'll see mine's already synced up here, but you'll see a Google Calendar setup button. So you can click on that if you use Google Calendar. Now what this doesn't do is take whatever you already have in your Google Calendar and push it to BSCpro. All it allows you to do is whatever stuff you're entering into BSCpro, it pushes it to your Google Calendar. I want to make that really clear because some people are like, hey, how come my whole Google Calendar since 1986 isn't in BSCpro? Because we can't do that. We can't reach into your calendar and push that stuff.
What about Outlook? No Outlook yet?
No, I don't have Outlook on here yet. Are you gonna put Outlook?
Chris, how many more signs do you need, bro? No, don't put Outlook on it.
Yeah, no,
Don't
please.
do it.
Yahoo, but not Outlook.
Tell.
Sorry, Fred. Sorry.
They can sync to Google Calendar and then sync that Google Calendar to their Outlook.
Yeah, if you want to do double sync.
Yeah,
That's a lot of syncopation. I don't know about all that. But
so that's the workaround. Google Calendar to my Outlook.
Yes.
All right.
All right. What else here? That is the new stuff, the newest stuff. And, oh, you know what? Let me show you. I need to show you guys this view. Sorry, I need to click on that. There we go. One second. So as the appointments get matched up, so when a trainer accepts an appointment, because you guys are going to have your list of appointments that you're responsible for on the left side. It won't just be Chris. You'll have your own as a mentor. And once those appointments get assigned, they're going to get sorted into the calendar for every particular day. So the blue numbers that you see in the background, that tells you the total number of appointments in the base shop for that day. So for your team, you're going to see all the appointments. It's going to allow you to see polls, allow you to see which days are your like heavier appointment days, which days are your lighter appointment days. It just gives you a different view of your calendar. And so here.
Question. Oh, yeah. So you finish that, and then I have a question afterwards.
Okay. So this is where the sorting happens for appointments. At the top, all the appointments that we're waiting for a field trainer to be either assigned or to respond, they're going to show up at the top in gray. And then Chris, for example, would be able to see every field trainer or every appointment that he's assigned to somebody from the base shop. And you guys will all be categorized here. And so basically your calendar view would be in his big calendar.
Now, let me ask you this. So at what point do they let's, for instance, Mike brought on 8 dudes this week and he's got about 80 people in his base shop. So some of this stuff is not normal until it's not the normal WFG where we have massive recruiters. Like Jared's got 100 people on his team. Mike's got 80 people on his team, right? At what point can he start managing that for his people? If that makes sense. So like he's assigning the field trainer. So his guy, Chris, who just brought on 8 people yesterday. Hey, I need to get an F&A done. At what point will he be able to, or is that all going to come to me, which is probably smart right now until we have assistants in place. But at what point will he have the authority to do that, or what account is that? Just so I want to make sure that we continue to move because we are moving pretty fast based on the people we're in.
That's going to come. Yeah, it can be any. I'm waiting for him to finish his thought.
No, he's asking and there's permission. So the answer is yes.
Oh my goodness, backseat driver. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Hashtag working from home. We all know. We know what that's like.
Quarantine.
Oh my gosh, it's so real. Okay. On your profile, where I showed you can give not authorized user, you can give matchup permissions. So
yeah.
But it's at your discretion. It's at you. So typically it's the S&D that says that you've been written off to do certain types of. So So once that happens, it's at your comfortability level, and you can give them permission to do their own matchups, but you still have the capability to override any decision. So like if Mike assigns somebody and you're like, no, I don't think that's a good matchup, you can reassign it to somebody else. Obviously, you're going to communicate that with Mike and let him know why, and then you can go from there. But
What happened?
what's that, Chris?
I don't know. I think that was somebody else. But okay, cool. So like somebody, like for instance, Mike's a writing agent and he has a massive base shop. Jared's a writing agent, has a massive base shop. Those are guys I want to give authority to do their own team's matchups and assign their mentors, right? So okay, cool. That helps me. That answers the question.
Okay, perfect. All right. Another thing that I think is might help you guys a lot is taking advantage of the highlighting that's in here. Here's why. When you have so many, and the highlighter's over here on the left, you guys, that I'm clicking on, looks like a little highlighter. You just click on it and it takes you through. It also tells you, there's a little tooltip that tells you what each of them mean. It's just built in. Here's why. When I was running the base shop, there was between 65 and 80 agents. And almost all of them are writing business and doing appointments. So my matchup book was very large, but having the highlighter view helped me to just spot like exactly where my eyes needed to go. Now in computer world, it's a lot easier because we can search, we can filter, we can sort things that we can't do on paper, or even in Excel. It makes it a little bit difficult, but on here, this allows me, if I have 200 appointments in a week and I just need to see all the appointments I need to follow up with, and you guys are taking advantage of the highlighting system, I don't have to scroll through all of this stuff. I can just, if you guys are all using highlighting and I'm like, okay, I need to call everyone that I need to follow up with, I can click on it and pull it all up and do my follow-up calls. So I think this will help you guys a lot, actually. You have a lot of activity going on, which is awesome. Okay.
Love that.
Yeah, that seems like a game changer. If you could just have a list of, hey, these 40 people need to do this, that would be pretty.
And then another thing in here that's huge is, I'm going to talk about the blue highlight real quick. So blue means the appointment has been rescheduled. Here's why this is important. If I see blue in the calendar, I'm expecting that a second appointment has been either a follow-up appointment has been scheduled. Sorry, not a follow-up. Let's say it was rescheduled. The client said, we can't make it. Can we do it tomorrow? Sure. I'm going to highlight it blue. I'm going to actually put in the date. Let me go here. You guys can actually see this. Follow-up. Did the appointment happen? Yes or no? I don't have the follow-up prompts in here on my test account, but you guys will see them. So let's just say it didn't happen. And you click no, just pretend, just follow me for a second. Was another appointment scheduled? So you would click yes, and then you can create the next appointment from right here. So you want to do it right away because it's annoying to try to go back and remember your week and do all that stuff after the fact. So do it in the moment if you can. And what happens is you'll see when it was rescheduled, it'll show up right here, and then you can click on it and go to the next appointment. So if I'm Chris and I see a bunch of blues in here of appointments getting rescheduled, I better see some dates of like when it was actually rescheduled for. What I'm saying is don't say it's rescheduled if you don't actually have a date. Okay, cool.
Oh, sorry, I might have missed this. So from, let's say that blue highlighted field, is it going to input the date in that new field, or does it create a new entry for the new appointment?
It will leave. Sorry, go ahead, Bethany. I didn't hear the very last.
No, I was just gonna say, does that make sense? So does it update that entry, or does it create a duplicate entry with the new date?
It'll be you're gonna create a new entry. It's not gonna make a duplicate entry for you yet. Right now, okay. You prompt it and then you put in the details and it'll add it to the new spot in the calendar.
Got it. Okay.
Good question. Okay. And there's also a table view. I'm not going to get into all the nitty gritties of this because I want to go to the next thing, but there's a table view also. If you like to see things in a list, some people really like this So it's up to you. You'll kind of figure out your groove of how you like to see your appointments, and sort things and move things around. You can move the columns to wherever you want them to be. You can sort them by status. So the biggest one would be new. Obviously, you can go to all your new appointments, Chris or Jared, and just do faster assignments. And what we're about to add is if you have this sorted by new, you'll be able to just go through quickly and Jared's moving something. But if you have this pulled up in an individual view, you'll be able to quickly go to the next appointment. There'll be a big arrow and you can just go on to the next one. So it's pretty cool. We're trying to put in a lot of time savers here. Okay, any questions, any other questions about matchups or how to enter them? Does it seem pretty simple to at least be able to enter them? And all right, cool.
I had a question about the calendar.
Uh-huh.
I know you mentioned that you'll see either like they're available, that they're booked, or busy. How do we show busy? For example, we've got for like this team alone, 3, 4, sometimes 5 scheduled Zoom for the writing mentors and the leadership staff to be on each week. Now, if someone's not part of that group, though they should be for the most part, and they go ahead and put a, let's say, appointment that needs a match up during that time, how do we show that, you know, a particular person is busy so that they don't get matched up and then have to go, so sorry, decline, and all that? How do we show that we're busy?
Like busy on other things, Brittany, if that makes sense. So say we're doing a closers college at 10 a.m. If somebody requires a matchup, how would it know they're busy at 10 a.m. for something that it's not a writing business? Like if I got to go to my kid's soccer practice at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. You're asking just how to block out time in general.
Yes.
Yeah, because we can't sync calendars.
As
Yeah.
a mentor.
Gotcha. So as a mentor, we don't have the block out feature yet. I'm hoping that is coming this weekend. I got to follow up with my programmers to see where we're at with it. But very, very soon you'll just be able to block out time, and you'll also be able to add an event to everybody's calendar. So if Chris has something like, hey, we're doing a big blah, 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 blowout, he can add it to everyone's calendar. You guys don't all have to add it individually.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So we could put all the stuff, team stuff, and then
yeah.
Ultimately, you're there. If that field train or that mentor's busy, just click no, and it will reassign to somebody who can do it.
Yeah. Just, you know. Another thing you could do, and it just depends on you guys, is if you add your blocked out time as a personal appointment, it'll show up that it'll show as busy. You'll show as busy on the list. And you don't have to put what you're doing. You can just, you know, put like none of your business. I'm busy. Or whatever. Okay. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Looked like Francesca kind of maybe had the same question, so wanted to know.
All righty. Let's go. What did we go over last time? Oh, let's do BPM. Did you guys have a chance to go over adding guests? Like, I know Jerry showed the team some stuff already, but I didn't want to cover something if you've already covered it. Did you guys go over adding guests?
No.
No. Okay, let's do it. So the first thing, too fast. I want to show you guys this just so you can see how it works. So on Chris's account, the BPM, this is where the BPM schedule gets set up from. And it only has to happen once for your recurring weekly BPMs that you have. So that's a one-time setup. And then any other S&Ds that want to get involved or hop on your guys' Zoom calls with you, you can add, Chris can add them as participating SMDs. He can also give permission to check in guests. So let's just say that would be Brittany's job for now, Brittany and Renee or whoever. So whoever's on a Zoom call, Brittany can have permission as an authorized user to check in all of your guys' guests. So everyone that's on the call, they can check them in for you. Or if you're on the call too and you know your guest is there, you can just check them in yourself on the guest check-in, and I'll show you that. We also have email confirmations, and you can set that up from here. This is through Chris's account. You guys don't all have to do it. It's a one-time setup and it goes out for the whole base shop. So you would just check the box to activate it, click on the little email envelope icon, and then it pops this page up. So you can set a custom email. There we go. Internet's a little slow. You can make a custom email, custom subject line, and you can choose up here when you want the email confirmations to go out. And then on your captain's list, you'll see who received the email, who hasn't received the email, especially if you do a batch of emails that go out at a certain time and then you add more guests later on after that first batch, you can individually send out emails for the people that came on, the people that were added later.
Jared, how do you think we use this with our current setup right now? I think we should operate everything out of the same thing.
Yeah.
So we're PMs and we're driving people to a Calendly link to register. But should we have our teams put their guests in here and then it sends them an email with the Zoom link as a reminder?
I like that. I like that a lot.
I just want to keep everything as we scale, keep everything in one place. You know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah,
like here,
let's look at it after, Chris. Let's play with it online and test it, and we'll figure it out. And if anybody else has input, let us know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this is for adding guests. Real simple. I don't even think I need to explain these fields. I think you guys can see how simple. But I will mention this. If it's as today, I don't have any BPMs set up in my schedule, but typically there's BPMs on Saturday. So if it happens to be the day of your BPM, you're going to see your BPM schedule. You're going to see the options for your BPM. So you change the date, you're going to see your BPM pop up, and you'll see a list of any other BPMs happening that day that Chris has, that Chris is a participating SMD in. And that means, what that means is you can add guests. That means Chris has had a conversation with another SMD and said, hey, can my team join in on your guys' event? So if you see that as an option, you can add guests. Okay?
That's killer.
All right. So that's pretty much it. Then recruiter, I've been asked this before, so I think I should bring it up. If it is, put in your own guests. Everyone should be putting in their own guests. It makes it easier. Even if you have a brand new person, this is a simple thing that they can do. Once they're able to, it doesn't have to be like their first day, but maybe after they've done a phone zone, or after they've at least, been through orientation class, or they've been through Crusade Basics or ABCs, whatever you guys call it, or Fast Start School, graduated at Fast Start School. This is a good time, that any of those times would be a good time to show them how to add a guest, because it's very simple. You can show them, introduce the app to them and show them this. If you have a guest, like once they're able to get a result on their own, this, you show them this is how you add a guest, and actually physically show them how to do it. Don't just tell them, go download the app and then just go add a guest. You want to show them how to do it. That's my recommendation. Okay, let's go here so you guys can see this, the captain's list, BPM invites. Killing it. Okay. Gotta change it up here. If you see a little red dot on your calendar, that just means you have guests on that list for that day. Sometimes it gets a little crazy, but I'm sure you guys have red dots going on everywhere. All right, so this is what the captain's list looks like. What I love about this is because of the size that you guys are right now, your attendance ratio is going to be really, will be really important just from a business, running a business perspective, to see how many guests are being invited, how many guests are being, out of the guests that are confirmed, how many show up. So that's your 10-3-1 numbers. So as you're adding the guests, they come in real time. So you can add guests any time of the day or night. Real simple. The email field is not mandatory, but because you guys are doing Zooms, you might want to make that mandatory for your guys' team to like put in the email. So we don't have to, I don't want to hunt you down for your guests, for your guest information. The little check boxes here, once the guest has been called and confirmed, I don't mean you confirming your friend to be on the Zoom. I mean like Brittany's making an official call from your guys' office, saying, inviting you, reminding you about the business attire. I know that doesn't really apply, but you know what I'm saying, and the address and the Zoom link and all that stuff, just to confirm. Once that confirmation is done, I would check the box that they're being confirmed. Left message, not interested, whatever. The notes here, click on the little note icon. And the notes work the same. So this is really cool. Me and a mentor and a mentee and a mentor, and then the base shop coordinator helping out to push, to let everyone know what's going on with this guest. So at the end of the night, you get the, I think you guys use a Google link or a Google form, right? To send out your blue cards. or your, so after those have been filled out,
Yes.
you can,
Yes.
you can transfer that information into here, and we'll figure out some kind of way where we can sync that up so you're not having to get all that info and then transfer it over here. We'll figure out some kind of way to do that. So yeah, notes work the same on every page, but it's pretty cool. And then once that they're a guest, and let's say we recruited them, if you click the little arrow under the action column here, you can add this person to the filters. You can add them as a client. You can make a new appointment for them.
Ooh, is that new? I like it.
It's been there. I just didn't mention it last time. Probably should have, but I forgot. There's so many things on here. Sometimes even I forget. So it's good when people just ask me questions. Yeah, so that's that. And then on the
Yeah,
right,
that's gonna be a game changer for us, because then we just move people right along. If we put them in here, then they just become.
exactly. And if you guys see anything funky, if anything is working differently than how I've described it, let us know, because it's either a bug or maybe I've explained something in a way that there was a miscommunication. So always let me know. You're not going to hurt my feelings if something is working differently than how I described it. I promise you. So just like be open with us, because I love that stuff, and that's the only way we're going to get better is from you guys' feedback. All right. And then here, if you click on the little envelope here, you can set a date and time for the email reminder to go out to just that individual. Let's say if that's someone you've added to the list after, let's say the deadline is 12 o'clock noon the day before, you guys have to have all your names on the list before 12 o'clock noon on Friday for the Saturday BPM. So anyone that gets added after that time, we can still email them through this page right here. Does that make sense? Cool. All right. And then I'm going to go here to check in real quick. Oh, and you can also do associate check-in. I didn't even go over this last time, but let's pretend we were still meeting at offices. On the app, once you're actually at the office physically, you can check yourself in on the app. So as you show up and you get there, you can just check yourself in, and that tracks your butts and seats, which I love. And it timestamps everybody.
Wow, that's cool.
Okay, let's go to guest check-in. All right, so let's say we're on the Zoom call, right? And we see the guests coming in. So Brittany, this is something you could, if you're on the call or whoever's on, you can assign somebody to just check in the guests that you know are on the Zoom call if you wanted to. You don't necessarily have to do it after. You can do it if you see them on there. And then your follow-up notes would just go in here. Like we know that they got the blue card, they filled it out, they said they're interested in the business and they're interested in becoming a client, whatever it is you want to do. I'm all about doing, like, if I can do stuff in real time, I'm going to do it in real time instead of having to do it later.
Let's just say Mike invites somebody to a BPM.
Mm-hmm.
Can he check in under his account?
Can Mike check in his guest?
Yeah, like if his guest hops on the Zoom, can everybody, because we're trying to create an accountability layer, so to speak. I think that's going to be huge for us with so many people, so that like everybody's in the main account, but can everybody do their part to move their people through? Or
yes, I believe so.
If they have a pay,
yeah, you should be able to check in your own guests. If you can't, message me, but yes.
Well, yeah. Okay.
And also on the main list, so if you guys are, because this has come up before, so I just want to mention it. If you're doing a guest with other SMDs, they're not going to have access to phone numbers and emails for your guys' guests. So only you're going to see them for your personal guests. If you're a non-SMD, you'll be able to have access to it, but anyone that's outside the team will not be able to see it. Okay. And then
another thing that I was just talking about, because sorry, we're doing a virtual WFG even before the coronavirus. So another thing, is it possible for, say, a recruit, we bring a recruit on, the number one of the 4 things we do when they get quotas, we tell them to download BSCpro, right? So that's our formula right now.
Okay.
Can they check boxes when they complete their reference calls, do these different, create their top 10 list? Can they as a recruit, or can only their mentor? Like, we want to try to make people self-sufficient, because we're going to say, hey, go watch the onboarding video. And then they could check a box, like I'm saying, the actual recruit that says I've completed my top 10 list, if that makes sense. So literally when we get on with them, they can almost, so the problem is right now we have so many people coming in.
Yeah.
We want them to be able to go and do everything and check off where they're at, and they know what steps 1 through 8 are. If they want to go super fast and do that in a day or 2, they could do that. Or if they want to do that in 7 days, they could do that, if that makes sense. So it's almost making them accountable for themselves and not waiting around on somebody to text them back, call them back.
Right. I like
so
that.
can the recruit actually check off what they've completed themselves too?
No, I can't. But I like the idea a lot.
Okay.
Because your guys' dynamic is different, and I like, in a good way. I mean that in a good way. There's not a whole lot of waiting happening, which I love. No, so it'd be similar to like the licensing tracker is what you're talking about, like how there's a timeline and then you have the tracker leader. No.
So they can track their own 8 speed filters where they can click it off. They don't have to wait for us to do it. So we're going to be like, go watch your onboarding video, create this. Because to be honest, filtering system is truthfully going to be automated, and you're not actually going to get matched up with a mentor until speed filter 8. That's what our ultimate goal is. When you do your FNA, that's actually where we're going to match you up. We're going to say, hey, all right, up to this point, let's look at BSCpro. It looks like you've done your 3 to 5 reference calls with the person who recruited you. It looks like you got your licensing going. It looks like you have all this. So they're not going to get our time, if that makes sense, with how many people we're bringing in. We want to make sure that they are serious, so we don't drag them along the mud for months and months and months. So we're going towards that, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're trying to do. So we want to make these people self-accountable up to filter number 8, where we're giving them onboarding videos and how to create your top 25 list and do these different things. So that's kind of what ultimately our goal is. Truthfully, we probably won't pair up a mentor until they need to do an FNA analysis.
Well, yeah,
down the road.
Be going out in the field unless they're client.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's weird. Yeah. I never took anyone out. Yeah, that's still a thing. Okay. I like that. That's interesting. No, they can't do that right now, but that's something we could work on. I like that a lot, actually, for your guys' case. And what I think of are the people that come on board that are not as driven. They need a driver. They need instruction. They need to be told the next thing to do. And they need to know that somebody is watching. They need to, not in a creepy way. I mean, they need to know that someone's going to hold them accountable for what it is that they're supposed to be doing. And some people need a light under their butt. So
yeah.
I like that a lot. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Definitely not impossible to do. Okay. I love that, actually. Hang on, I'm just writing this down real quick. Hi, Renee, by the way. I see you on there, Renee Hill. Okay.
I was saying, I still have my shirt that you gave me. It still fits. So thank you, by the way, for sending my BSCpro shirt out. I still wear it all the time.
Oh, I'm glad. I love those shirts.
So sweet. Yeah, me too.
They're fun. All right. Good question. You got my wheel spinning right now. I love when people ask me questions like that I've never had before.
With that, would you be any concerned about them checking off stuff that they haven't completed yet, though?
That is a concern of mine, but we can.
I'll tell you my thoughts on that
later.
Can they maybe upload those documents on or proof, or just kind of like they do on that schedule?
Here's the thing, Chris. Here's the deal. We're not going to micromanage people, and if they're liars, they're always going to be liars, and they're going to lose at some point in time anyway. And if they didn't get the training, they're going to lose. And if they didn't get the training, they can't duplicate, and they're going to lose. I think it's one of those things. At least my opinion for my what I've done in the past is, look, this is a business. I'm not here to babysit you and micromanage you and clock you in and clock you out. If you said you did something, you didn't do it, it's going to hurt you, not me.
Yeah. Yep. And then ultimately, I think we're going to catch them at filter 8 when you become their mentor, and you're going to go, oh, cool. You made your 3 to 5 references. Funny.
Yeah.
Where's activity, or, oh, you have your top 25 list. Yeah, send that to me right now. You clicked, you did it. And then if they can't, okay, let's get serious here. Are you really trying to build a business, or are you want to be dragged through the mud for several months? Because I'm here to help your family build their business and not drag you through the mud. So.
Yeah. And typically those people will weed themselves out. So like good people are attracted to the environment, and the bad ones, they weed themselves out anyway because they can't handle it, and it doesn't jive with being honest and being upfront and like trying to really get after it in an honest way. So sometimes
but there's so much time spent on those people because you got a dude like me or a dude like Jared, and I love everybody. I want to help everybody 24 hours a day, but my wife isn't happy with that. If I'm wasting my time on somebody who I'm gonna have to drag through the mud for the rest of their life, so that's my take on it. But that's a great question, Renee.
Yeah, that is a great question
to think about.
Okay. Okay. The last thing on here that I will mention is you have a top personal rankings by invites. And then top personal by people that have arrived. But again, this is my test account, so they're not going to see anything. But that's how it is. And then top base shop, this is for when you have multiple SMDs, which you guys are going to have very soon. A lot of you will be SMDs pretty quickly here, I think, to see like who's number one, who has the most invites, who had the most actually show up, or who had the most actually log on to the Zoom webinar. So it's pretty fun. And then it's real simple. The check-in button. I know this is like really ridiculously simple, but I just want, that's all it does. So you just click check-in and they're checked in. And also it'll tell you when your guests, so let's say Renee or Brittany are checking in guests, you guys will get pinged on your phones that your guest has been checked in, even if it's virtual.
And I think it's cool if the person who invited them has to do this, because that holds them accountable. They got to show up to the BPM. I mean, that's reality. I mean, they can't just like invite a guest to our Zoom BPM.
And get away from his thing.
Yeah, and I really like to, anytime you can show someone the system in real time and show them that there's a process and actually make them do it, the more you can just send them out there into the deep end. Like, we're gonna hold your hand, yes, but we're trying to make you independent as soon as humanly possible. So all this little stuff help. The more you can make them do it up front on their own, the better. All right. I'm gonna show you this real quick. So under my organization, click on team roster. This is where you're gonna select Chris and Jared. I'm not sure exactly whose account this is gonna show up on yet because this is brand new, but I'll have an answer for you shortly today. The trainer column right here in the middle. So this is how we get the available, busy, and booked late tags to show up for people. So you can go through your list of your people that have a BSCpro account, and then you can just check off who's a trainer. And we'll get granular with it. Like, these people can do fast starts. These people can do KTP1, KTP2. We'll get into the nitty gritty of it soon. But this is where you would mark those people off. That way they show up in that search list.
So for like Brittany and Andre who aren't in my base, how could I tie them in?
I had a question for that. Yeah.
We don't have that up yet. Right now, it's just your base shop. You can still search for everyone else. You're just not going to see that tag yet because they're not in your base. But we'll get there.
Got it.
All right. And then maps. While I'm here, I'll just mention this. On your team roster page, if you click the map button, you can edit your uplines. So now I wouldn't suggest a trainee or a mentee just go in on their own and do this, because if it's confusing for them, just help them along. Whoever their mentor is, just help them edit that if you have a map scenario that you need to adjust. But usually Chris can handle that, or Jared, maybe Brittany or Renee can help somebody with that. But just don't let them loose on there. We don't want them assigning themselves somewhere that they shouldn't be. So just wanted to mention that. And then I'm going to show you guys the profile page. So on the right here, far right, click on the little people. Oops, I just told you the wrong thing. Click on your name, excuse me, and then hit profile. And the profile page will come up. The first couple of things here. When you create your account, go in and just make sure your details are correct. Make sure you have your phone number in there. You can add an additional phone number in there. Make sure your time zone's correct. It should be, but if it's not, I know you guys have people in other states, so make sure that they put their time zone in correctly, because it converts the times for appointments and stuff like that. So they're seeing the right time and you're seeing the correct time. Licenses, put in all the licenses that you have. Not if you've passed your test, put when you've actually been appointed and can actually do business, write business on your own. Languages that you speak. Don't put, if you only know the bad words in Spanish or Tagalog, like don't put that. You speak that language. We want to know, can you do an appointment in that language? I know that seems obvious, but you'd be surprised what I've come across. Okay, so put on all the languages. Your edification profile. This is really cool for a couple of reasons. One, or what we're about to roll out, is for the trainees or for the mentees, they will be, let's say they get matched up with someone that they've never met, let's say. Edification is a tough thing for some people to learn. If you're not used to saying good things about people just off the cuff, it's awkward for a lot of people at first. We're not used to doing it. I'm used to it. You guys are probably used to it, but a lot of people aren't. If you hire someone that's a cashier at Ralph's, like they have never edified anyone in their life. They have no idea what that means, and they've never met you. So if they botch the edification part of the appointment, it can ruin the appointment. If they're just like, here's Chris, he's really cool. Like that's not good. So you can give them a couple of things about you so they know a little bit about you and they know what to say. And eventually we'll have a little feature where you can make a little video like, hey, in the field training appointment, I'm so excited to meet you. Here's what you can say, or here's a little bit about me, so they can get to know you a little bit. So fill that out. Then, authorized users. So each person has the capability to add 4 authorized users that will have access to their account, and they'll have access to everything. And then matchup permissions are set right here. So this is something that only Chris will have, that he can add, like Mike, for example, he can add Jared, he can add, whoever should be able to do their
So
own.
let me ask you a question about this. If let's say I give Jared and Mike matchup permissions to match up anybody in their downline, will they be able to match them up with people anybody, right? So people that might not be in their direct, like, is Jared able to still match up Mike even though they're not in the same hierarchy downlines, or they can still match up? Because we only have 7 of us, right? So we're trying to use 7 or 8 of us. So they can still do that and match them up with whoever I mark as a trainer in BSCpro.
Yes, they'll have the same capabilities that you have as the SMD.
And then one question before I forget, while we're on matchup training, is, so let's just say we submit a matchup and it's accepted. Does the Zoom link go, or is there any client email, or do we have to send a calendar invite to the actual person that's the client, so to speak?
That's a great question. So the client is not automatically.
If they put it in, so how does the client get a link, right? So if you go to back up to the matchup book, I put it in, Jared puts it in, I assign Mike as the field trainer on it. There's already a Zoom URL. Will the client I don't know if the client's email is there. Will the client automatically get, hey, here's your appointment's confirmed, here's the Zoom link? Or
no, the clients don't automatically get anything from the matchup system.
That just might be one thing you might want to, if possibly, write down an email reminder, like, here's your link for your appointment or something. I'm just giving you ideas.
Yeah.
So ultimately then that matchup trainer would send a calendar invite with the Zoom link to the trainee and client right now.
Yes.
If it was on Zoom.
Yes. Yeah, yes, you guys would have to send that out to them independently.
Perfect. Okay.
And really it's because for so many people, aside from you guys, this is such new territory. So all of our other agents are doing this, like the Zoom world is like a whole, like, they're like, oh, new world. Like they have no idea like what's popping off. So we are, I'm trying to just get a sense of like where everybody is, like as far as how they send things out. Like some people use Calendly, some people are using I forget what they use. They'll use like a Google form to send the link out and to do the blue card. So once I get all of the main things that are out there, I want to be able to provide those options for everybody. So that's good. I like that a lot.
Yeah, because just in my experience, if you can get a team to use one system, they're gonna more use it. So I'm from a business standpoint for you guys, the more that you can get, if I can say, hey, we're gonna operate BSC Pro and you don't operate anything else, just being truthful, you guys could potentially raise your prices because there's more demand on you. You know what I mean? So the more I can everything in one system, people will use it more if that makes sense. At least for my experience and using CRM.
That absolutely makes sense. And that's what I want. It's getting really ridiculous with the amount of things people have to use to run the same business.
Does BSC Pro sync with Salesforce in any capacity?
Not yet. Derek's been working on that for quite a while. There's pros and cons to it. So I don't know if we're going to roll it out or how soon we're going to roll it out, but we have the ability to do it. Yeah. But there's just there's so few people. I think I've maybe come across 2 or 3 that I know that actually use it. And the only reason they use it is because at the company they previously worked at, they already knew how to use Salesforce because it was part of their job.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I still haven't found anyone that's using it and is like, we love it so much. It's a good place to just have stuff stored. But as far as day-to-day driving of the base shop activities, it's not doing what people thought.
That was exactly my point. Nobody's going to use it because it doesn't do everything. They can't keep everything. They got to use 4 different systems to use Salesforce, and that's what their problem is.
Yeah, it's kind of an impossible thing. For the reason I was able to build BSC Pro is because I come from the field and I understand. There weren't a lot of things I had to learn in order to know exactly what was needed from the jump off, and so they're having to learn what's going on and process it all, and then try to figure out how we're going to build this with a system that is not necessarily capable of doing customizations the way that we do customizations. So they're just in a different lane. They're a different animal than we are.
Right.
So
yeah, most would be helpful for like gathering contacts from, because I've noticed, as soon as we code a new agent, he pops up in our Salesforce without even having to like put in his agent code and stuff, which is helpful.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
I like that part.
We're gonna do first, because that will be helpful to on our side and for you guys. But other stuff as far as like sharing notes, like production notes and things like that. If no one's going to Salesforce to look at their notes, I'm not going to push over your guys' notes you're putting in BSC Pro onto Salesforce, because you're not using Salesforce in your day-to-day business to drive business forward. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
like on BSC Pro, we can see everybody. Salesforce, we can't see the team.
Right. If they get to that point, we'll deal with it when we get there. But with the size we're at now and the resources that we have, I don't want to spend too much time there until we need to, until we know a little bit more information from them, like what their plan is. I think they're still kind of unsure.
You guys, I got to start another Zoom. I really appreciate it, Brittany. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for being on. Good talking to you. All right, you guys. Any last minute things? Or
the last thing I would just show is the licensing tracker, and I think
okay.
I'll say I've got to hop off too, but thank you so much, Brittany. This was super helpful. I'm really excited to be using this moving forward.
Me too. And I'll talk to you soon. We'll get the licensing stuff going. Bye.
Heck yeah. All right. Sounds good. Bye, guys.
All right. So the licensing. There's a timeline, and there's a timeline for unlicensed people to use. Now, this is something we had to build, because there's no place to just download a simple timeline of the licensing steps for every state. So we're having to build this manually, and I'm going to be working with Brittany on that to at least get the states that you guys have teammates in, and we'll start there and start putting these timelines together. So your unlicensed people can put in their test date goal, and this is going to do more as we develop more. But and it just takes them through all the steps. We have it already set up for California and for New York. We're going to make a couple tweaks with the MyWFG Direct and a couple of the new rules that have come into place. But they can just enter in, you know, whatever the most important thing is. We have a we have a date for each thing, because I want things to be stamped and tracked immediately, and it syncs up with your licensing tracker as the leader. So as soon as you add somebody to the 8-speed filter tracker, they automatically get added to the licensing tracker as well. So you don't have to do that. And then it'll activate their licensing timeline the minute they're on the filters. So it just takes them through all the steps. And then we've provided links.
So this is,
oh,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but so this is going to basically walk them through getting appointed with the carriers. This
Everything.
is awesome.
yes.
Yeah, from everything and from signing up for their test to doing everything.
That's awesome. I'm looking at this. This is
Yeah.
Where's this part found? Oh, the licensing. Okay.
So, yeah, the licensing, it's right in the middle, sort of the middle tab. Yeah, they're continuing ed. And if anything on there has changed, this is why customizations are great. Brittany or Renee can go in and make the tweaks necessary for if anything becomes outdated. Okay, and then I'll show you the tracker. Okay. All right, so widen this up a little bit. So again, so like I said, the timeline syncs up with this tracker. So as they're checking things off their list, they're going to get time stamped under each of these columns here. So they just sync up, and whatever fields you guys put in there, you're going to have whatever fields you put in for them, whatever they're checking off, it's going to show up here. And then the notes, you guys can be using the notes together as a team. So let's say, you know, if Renee's calling a couple people about licensing, helping them get through a couple steps, she can put in there, this is what I did with Joe Smith today. So that way when Chris goes in, you can be like, oh, cool, Joe Smith's right here in the licensing process. He's at step 5. I know, you know, in a week we can get him into step 6, or, you know, whatever step needs to happen next. You guys get the idea. You can set the status, which I love. Set the status for each add tags, I mean, for each person, whether they're active or they're studying, wherever they're at in the process. You can put those tags there. It's easier when you're trying to sort. Go down here. Oh, that's a long page. I've been working on this page for quite a while, but a newer, fresher design. I know it's not as fancy as the other pages, but we're getting there. But I also love feedback too, like I already said. So Renee, Brittany, any of you, as you're using this stuff, let us know what is going to be the most helpful, what any pain points are. Like, I want to know the rubs. I want to know the nitty gritty stuff. This is the only way we can make it better. Okay.
Vernie, I had a quick question on this. Is there like a phone log? Like, if you wanted to just have, like, you know, like an hour, 2-hour session of phoning each day, is there a tab to keep track of, you know, anyone you want to call and the outcome of those calls, and then follow-ups like 3 months later, 6 months later? Is there a system like that?
He's saying for the client side or the recruit side, probably under prospects, right?
Yes.
Prospects for sure. Yeah.
Yes, that would be under prospects, under the prospect tracker. And what we're working on, this is like on our top, this is like on my top 5 list of features that we've been developing, is just making the call, like logging of the calls and notes available everywhere. So yes, you can do that. And I'll show you right here.
I like that.
Under call logs, click the little phone icon, and we're going to make this available on the dashboard, like everywhere in more obvious spots. Okay. So you log the result, call back. I'll just say save it. Oh, you can set the, oops, I'm going a little too fast. Click call back. There we go. I think I went a little too fast. And it'll prompt you to add the date and time. And you can just save it, and it'll log your note. So what's cool about this is you can also share prospects. So if, let's say you have, you want to share your prospect with Chris, so Chris can make a call for you, or a couple of calls for you. You can share the prospect with him, and he'll see all of this information. He'll basically get like a card of all of the info. So you can see how many times you called the person, what the results of at least the last phone call, what was the result. So he knows you know, kind of what he wants to talk about next, or what appointment you want to book with that person. And then these buttons down here allow you to add this person that you have pulled up to that particular page. So if you want to add them as a guest, you can do that. As a client, as a recruit, make a matchup, whatever. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yes. Yeah, very much. Thank you.
Okay. Let me see. So we were on licensing. Is there any other stuff about licensing?
Can you add your own tabs? Like how far over to the right does it go?
On Prospect Tracker?
On the licensing.
Oh, on licensing. On licensing, it'll go as far over as steps you have put in.
So we can add and edit and customize?
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And also with the customizations, oh, there's my callback reminder. With the customizations, it doesn't have to be a date stamp. If you want to have a multi-select, if you want to have tags there, if you want to have different things, let's just open note fields, let you do a couple of different options there, which we can talk about afterwards. I'll show you how it all works. So good question though. Anything else? Chris, did I cover all the main stuff?
Yeah, no, I think, that was amazing. Thanks so much. My goal is to get everybody on the team on this by Monday morning.
Okay.
And then maybe we can set up a call just to talk a little bit about more customizations that we kind of talked about this. And then also I'd like to do, if possible, once we get everybody on the team, just a basic way to use this if you're a training associate account.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. And with the trainees, I'm going to keep it way simple. It's not going to be as long as the training was. It will just, basically, I'm going to walk them through the app and I'll show it to them and show them how to create their accounts if they haven't done that already. And I'll take questions from them and then we'll call it a day with the trainees.
But what we were talking about, the 8 speed filters, having them mark it off themselves, you're basically doing that with the licensing. So you're already doing it. Now it's just on.
Yeah. And that it made me think, as soon as you said that, I was like, like the licensing. It's just that no one was doing it and that's not how I did it.
Right.
It just never occurred to me, like, oh, maybe there's some people that should be checking it off on their own. So I like that a lot. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time. I'm looking forward to getting everybody on this and getting us organized. You're going to help us out so much. So we appreciate it.
Of course. It's been my pleasure. You guys have been so fantastic. I'm excited to work with you guys. It's just been great from day one. As soon as you guys contacted me, like, this has been so much fun already with you guys. So I can't wait. Now, if you need to get a hold of me or anyone on my team, use the help chat on the bottom right corner. Click on this little guy down here and you can start a new conversation, or any time you've contacted us previously, you can see a thread of all old conversations. So you can message us. It'll reach me on my phone. It'll reach me on email. If you can't get a hold of me any other way, this is like the fastest when I'm in work mode. All right. Okay, you guys. All right. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks
Thank you so much. Awesome.
Thanks, Brittany.
Good job.